In the CarMaker GUI, the possible use of real-time expressions is indicated by a special icon, a blue function symbol f of x. That means you can use real-time expressions in each input field which is marked with this icon. What are the fields of application? Real-time expressions can be used to evaluate logical statements in each simulation cycle. They can serve as dynamic end conditions in the maneuver definition here, or as trigger for mini-maneuver comments there. Even in other CarMaker modes like the Traffic GUI, we can use real-time expressions for start condition for traffic objects and also on higher level for test run or session commands for special behavior. Within real-time expression statements, the use of existing user-accessible quantities is possible, and also new quantities can be defined inside of an expression. They can be only locally and temporally defined. For a full list of function description, please have a look at our User's Guide. Chapter Real-Time Expressions. Let's now try two different examples in order to have a practical basic understanding. First of all, I need a suitable test run for the two examples. I will use an already created test run for this case, which is defined by a straight road created in the scenario editor, and an acceleration phase to the end of the route described in the maneuver GUI. The first example will show how to handle the integral function listed in the User's Guide. There are 3 parameters required. I'm going to use the velocity of the ego vehicle, which will be integrated over time, and the integration calculation should start with an ego vehicle velocity greater than 0. If the calculation is correct, we should see the exact same value for the endpoint man-long step distance, which can be seen here, which is staring the driven distance for this particular maneuver step. First, I navigate to the maneuver GUI and create the required quantity. This is used to store the required information. First is a built-in function, which is also described in our User's Guide chapter Real-Time Expressions. The first function can contain a condition, but without any condition, the right part besides the question mark will be executed only once in the beginning of the simulation. Hence, the quantity will be created only directly in the beginning. I am going to avoid that this quantity will be created every time. After I've written this highlighted part, I can define a specific name for the quantity. In this case, I will call it user man_dist and set it equal to 0. Now I will switch to the next mini maneuver. Here I'm going to write the following line to add the integral. Eval is required to tell the simulation that the following line should be handled as a real-time expression and not as a mini-maneuver comment as expected. Now that I have set up everything and we can start the simulation. I will let it run with 5 times real-time and open IPTmovie to visualize the result. The simulation is done and we can investigate the results. We open the direct variable access under Application and select the created quantity. we can already see that there is a value stored. As you can see, the endpoint step distance, which is the by default calculated maneuver distance by the simulation, and user man dist are equal. Hence the calculation seems to be correct. Let's now try another example by extending the actual test run configuration. I will create another quantity called user delta t, which will store the pass time between two measurement points. And I write the required line in next mini maneuver. The delta2ev function will measure the change of the first mentioned quantity between two measurement points, which are defined by conditions. In this case, I want to calculate the time between 100 and 200 meters of the s-coordinates of the road. I will print out the results to the session log with another mini maneuver with a duration of 0 seconds. This mini maneuver will be executed at the end of a simulation and contains the definition of the log message in the following way. And now it's done. Let's start the simulation and have a look at the results. As we can see, the Ego vehicle requires around 4 seconds to drive between the defined measurement points. Please feel free to try out the other available product examples for real-time expressions, which are available by clicking on File, Open, Product Example, Example Basic Functions, Real-time Expressions.